implement the plan. You're being recorded now. So it really does help us implement the larger plan. And as I said in the video, so we can only kind of stay within a CMAP lane and not work on things that aren't related to our work plan and our core missions. Thanks, Elliot. Thanks, Emma.
Anybody else have? I don't. If unmute if you have a question. If not, do we? I know that we're supposed to have a presentation on equitable engagement. Is Ryan? I don't see Ryan online. Is Ryan available, or who's somebody else going to be doing that?
We do have a recording from Ryan. So
okay.
It'll be Ryan speaking, and then any questions can be directed to him.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And should we do roll call as well?
We can do a roll call. Okay, why don't you go do a roll call for now?
Okay.
We have a quorum.
Yes. Okay. Lulu Blacksmith. Thomas Gary.
I am present.
Thank you. Blake Grigsby. Elliot Harstein.
Here.
Kevin Ivers.
Here.
Renee Patton.
Here.
Thank you. Ruth Rosas. Not here. Zara Suratwala.
Here.
Daniel Honigman. And Aditya Karan.
Here.
Thank you. And I apologize if I mispronounced anybody's names.
Okay, before we go on, congratulations, Thomas.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was like, what did I do?
What did you do? At any rate, why don't we go on with the presentation on the equitable engagement?
All right, I will share that.
Hello, my name is Ryan Tomto, and I am the project manager of CMAP's Equitable Engagement Program. Today, I will provide a brief update on the design of this program and discuss the next steps. Since the adoption of ONTO 2050, CMAP has been looking for ways to more extensively and more meaningfully engage with people who have historically not been at our decision-making tables. Study after study has shown that planning and policy efforts are more impactful and successful when more people, and particularly the people most directly impacted, are involved in co-generating solutions to local and regional problems. Governments at all levels have influenced distribution of advantage and disadvantage in American society. As a region's metropolitan planning organization, or MPO, it is important for CMAP to recognize the past and present roles the agency has played in producing and perpetuating practices that harm marginalized communities. Without intentional intervention, institutions and structures will continue to perpetuate inequities. CMAP has the ability and responsibility to implement policies that combat the effects of bias and discrimination and to promote inclusive growth. Moreover, CMAP's core federal responsibilities connect to this work. Environmental justice is a federal requirement of federal, state, and local agencies and has legal basis in the civil rights and environmental laws, executive orders, and regulations shown here. The overarching goal of this equitable engagement program is to overcome barriers to more equitable engagement in order to drive more equitable outcomes and opportunities for everyone across the region. To achieve this goal, CMAP will work to build stronger relationships with environmental justice communities through sustained engagement with community organizations in CMAP's long-range planning and programming activities. CMAP will provide financial compensation to organizations for their time and expertise. This work will supplement CMAP's existing engagement activities. Last year, CMAP selected the Center for Neighborhood Technology, or CNT, to co-design and implement a regionally representative engagement program. The CMAP project team consists of 10 staff from all 5 of CMAP's divisions to ensure a variety of perspectives are brought to the table. The budget for this project is $548,000. Last year, CMAP was awarded a statewide planning and research program grant from the Illinois Department of Transportation that funds 80% of the total cost. The development of the program is divided into 4 tasks. The first task has been underway for the past year. During this time, 15 workshops were held with the CMAP project team to develop the program. In addition, an advisory group comprised of leaders of community-based organizations that serve historically marginalized populations have been engaged through a series of 4 workshops and multiple one-on-one consultations. As we near the end of the program design phase, we are preparing for the second task, which involves the recruitment and selection of participants for the program. Task 3 will involve the actual implementation of the program, including processing and tracking compensation to participating community groups. This is a critical element of the program, as it must satisfy the requirements that come with federal funding. Finally, for Task 4, the Urban Transportation Center at the University of Illinois at Chicago will provide an independent evaluation of the program to determine whether the program has achieved its goals. For the initial 2 years of the program, CMAP will partner with approximately 12 community-based organizations that represent historically marginalized communities. For the program to be successful, the group must be representative of the region's geographic diversity. Participating community groups will be compensated $10,000 per year. The application and selection process has been streamlined to reduce burdens on participating organizations while also meeting federal requirements. Participating organizations are expected to either have nonprofit status or to have a fiscal agent who receives funding on their behalf. In some cases, such as rural areas with few existing nonprofits, units of local government, like library districts, may be considered community-based organizations for CMAP's purposes. Participating organizations must represent communities that have been historically marginalized, represent the diverse range of geographies in the region, and demonstrate their commitment and interest in engaging in transportation planning and programming. In preparation for the recruitment portion of the work, CMAP staff are brainstorming ideas for how to grow awareness of the program, especially among prospective participants. The team has been thinking of how we can leverage CMAP's existing relationships and how to establish new ones. We're thinking of how to utilize CMAP's communication tools such as the local government network, the website, newsletter, and social media. We're also thinking about how to develop a toolkit to make it easy for our partners to share information about the program on their platforms. We will be intentional about translating materials, and we will find opportunities to meet with organizations at the places where they're already gathering to share information about the program and to learn more about their mission. As you can see, we have our work cut out for us. We are currently working to finalize the program guide, application, and recruitment plan. Recruitment of participants will begin in early June and carry through until mid to late July, when applications will be due. Interviews will be held with applicants in August and September, and the selection of 12 participants will be completed by the end of September, with the goal of officially launching the program this October. Thank you for your time. As I mentioned before, we are currently thinking through recruitment ideas to ensure information about this opportunity reaches as many community organizations as possible that serve historically marginalized populations within the region. We invite you to share your ideas and any suggestions you have for community organizations we should connect with about this opportunity. We are also happy to answer any questions you may have. Again, thank you for your time.
I don't know, Seema or Jane, I'm since Ryan's not here, I'm just wondering if you could explain a couple things to the committee and myself. Number one, what are the criteria that are actually going to be used in basically determining which organizations are going to participate? And number two, what is that of the $10,000 grant? What are the parameters as to what that money is to be used for?
Great. I can definitely answer those questions, or at least try to, Elliot. I'm on the project team myself, working on it for a good part of this year already. Just to back up a little bit, one of the constraints that we have because of our funding, which is all mostly federal funding, a little state funding, is that we have been unable to pay community organizations for their community expertise in the same way that we pay consultants for their expertise. So this program is designed to both broaden and deepen our public engagement on specific projects and do it in a way that compensates communities for their perspective and expertise and not take it for granted, as a lot of government agencies have done for so long. So we're, as Ryan's presentation said, we're about to begin the process of opening the applications for the program and accepting, I think, 10 to 12 organizations for $10,000 for the first year to help us on specific projects. And the $10,000 would be compensating them for their time. So it would be either convening focus groups to help us understand a particular issue on a project. It would be helping us organize and tap into constituencies that they serve in ways that make sense for them. So going to where those constituents, those residents are, and using these community organizations to help us do it. We are looking for the criteria that the organizations must serve a marginalized or underrepresented community. We will be using some of the agency's kind of data maps that tell us where those residents are, either in economically disconnected or disinvested communities, or they live in what we call cohort 3 or 4 communities, which are also communities that have higher populations of poor people, poor residents. So it's in marginalized communities. So that's part of the criteria. We're also going to be, because we're a regional agency, looking for geographic kind of representation of those organizations. And so it could include everyone from a youth serving organization in McHenry County to a disability organization in Cook County, as long as they serve historically marginalized, underrepresented residents and have the ability to participate with us. That is, they've got a minimum capacity to be able to convene meetings, provide expertise and consultation to us. So I think there's a requirement of some kind of 501c3, or at least you have a financial, what do they call it, an agent, fiscal agent, to handle whatever the organization's finances would be if they're not registered with the state as a 501c3 under the tax code. So this is our way of not getting around federal regulations and how we use federal funding for projects. All of this in the first year is funded through philanthropy. We have a grant, I think, from the Chicago Community Trust for this first round of engagement, the first year. We've been working with some outside consulting firms to help us put some shape and form to it. And we're really looking forward to figuring out who these organizations are. And instead of just having them fill out an application, sending it in, we're going to actually be meeting with them, doing a little bit of in-person due diligence to understand the constituencies they serve, what's their ability to partner with us in this program that we're actually now calling community collaboratives. So we didn't think equitable engagement was very meaningful to folks. It's a community collaborative that we're building through this program. And there are a lot of other metropolitan planning organizations such as CMAP that are looking to us to see if we can make this work. Really curious about how to fund community participation in our projects. And that's the innovation here, is how to do it in a way that is both transparent and accountable to the public and our federal funders, but also helps us go deeper into communities that we serve and make sure they understand that we understand what their perspective and wisdom is about our programs.
I think the concept is tremendous. As far as the money goes, in terms of the 10,000, in terms of equity with regard to the equity.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of, I suspect some groups may do more than others.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of, is that like lump sum that goes out regardless of what they do? In other words, how is it determined
Yeah,
what they, what they're being compensated for? I mean, I think they should be compensated. And I
Yep.
think it's great to get them involved. But I could see, that there might be a divergence of what, what certain groups do versus others. And that's why I was just wondering how that money is going to be doled out and
Yeah.
paid in terms of what do they have to do a certain number of hours or something in order to be able to be entitled to the 10,000.
Yep. Well, these organizations are going to want to know what's expected of us for $10,000 in a year's worth of engagement with you. So we are putting together kind of the list of projects we hope to consult with them for. And there will be kind of regular reporting requirements as well. So we don't yet know what the specific activities will be, but we will be closely aligned and partnered with these organizations so that we get the most out of this relationship. We're going to be paying them up front $5,000, kind of as a trust building, trust really to signal to them that we value them, that it's not on a reimbursement basis, rather kind of like a consultant. We're going to pay you an upfront kind of retainer fee, and then we will pay you too as at the end of the year. At the end of this year of engagement, or as it goes, depending on what the organization's needs are. And again, we're the first regional government that we know of that's trying to do this. And the devil may be in some of these details, but we're determined not to let a lot of that get in our way of making this happen.
I want to open to other questions, but I just one
Yeah.
last one. Are there any other examples of a project like this? I know not in our region, but maybe elsewhere in the country where people have attempted something like this. And if so, what have they done?
Yeah, so there are a few other governments, not regional governments like CMAP, that have been over the years using general fund dollars to provide compensation to community organizations for their expertise. That's just for us part of the puzzle to solve. Again, the tricky part here is because the source of our funding is mostly federal dollars, that in the past we couldn't even buy refreshments for meetings because that was not permitted under our funding requirements. And as you know, one of the biggest barriers to getting people to come to a meeting is, especially an evening meeting for young families, for example, is what do I do with the kids and how do I feed them? And if you can solve those two problems for them, you'll get more people showing up at meetings. So we're looking to do just that, is deferring to the organizations about how they think they can bring their constituencies, their residents into the planning process with us. One project we think we're going to use to pilot is our ongoing efforts to help communities develop ADA transition plans. And so we will be using community organizations to help us understand better what are the contours, what do we need to hear from communities about accessibility in their communities, guidance that they have. 20% of us are living with a disability. We need to talk to more people and not just our usual suspects. That's what this is about, is getting past our STPs, the same 10 people who have typically been advising governments for a long time. The ones who show up at meetings. We've got to get past that. So you have some questions here, Chair. Thank you.
Other people, questions, anybody?
So just in
Sorry,
terms of, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I didn't know if we should go off the hand raises or how we were doing
Well,
questions.
okay, Renee, why don't you start? Go ahead.
Yes, I've had some comments. I've been in some spaces with many environmental justice organizations in Chicago. So I heard the ask about what these organizations are. So there's the Chicagoland Environmental Justice Network, which several organizations are a part of. From my experience in those coalitions that I am with them, like obviously the money is great. If you haven't talked to any of them yet, that timeline seems like really aggressive. Just from what I've heard them say in other spaces, specifically about like the climate action plan that happened with the city recently. So that's just my thought there.
The We Will plan? Yeah.
The Chicago Climate Action Plan.
Climate Action Plan. Thanks, Renee.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Aditya?
Yeah, had some concerns as to. You mentioned that you want to avoid the same 10 people problem, which is the same 10 people coming up and doing this. And it's not clear to me why this wouldn't just turn into the same 30 people problem, the same 40 people problem.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's more measuring whether we are collectively engaging as opposed to actually implementing things that actually help these marginalized communities as opposed to just talking with them. So how do we bridge the gap between just talking, because ultimately words are cheap as opposed to actual actions that can help these communities?
Good point.
Yeah, and so one of the, as part of the application, we asked them, how will this help you? How will this help you serve the residents you are already serving? We need to understand what the payoff is for these organizations that we'd be partnering with. And in a region of 8.6 million people, 7 counties, 284 municipalities, we don't know all the community organizations. We never can. We need to, though, look beyond just our regular networks to find out who's doing meaningful services to the marginalized, disenfranchised residents in our region. Are they on there? They're not on our radar screen, we're pretty sure. Region's too big for that. So it's the first year, and there will be, as Ryan's presentation said, we're partnering with UIC to do ongoing kind of monitoring and reporting about what we're achieving with the program. It's got to have some meaningful outcomes, not just for both the organizations we're partnering with, but also for CMAP's projects.
And are these meaningful outcomes as to who's been engaged, or like changes in actual project?
Changes. So not just numbers in the door, numbers out the door, but rather meaningful outcome measures. So how has the lives of those residents and constituents been improved either by participating in this collaborative, but also more in the specific projects that we were hoping to engage them in.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And again, we're still developing the program, so any insights are appreciated. We did have an advisory group that got us this far. They were our kind of candid advisors for the project, and we've changed a whole lot about the design of the project just to make sure that we're using language that reaches these constituents and these organizations, not coming into it with I'll say some institutional, I don't know, with some institutional humility, so that we're going to have to build trust because we're government, and there's some underlying distrust of government all over. Even if we're not on anyone's radar screen as regional government, the minute you say that, it's different. So.
Other comments or questions?
I think it's an awesome idea. This is Kevin.
Kevin?
In terms of the support that you might get from us as committee members on CAC, what can we do now for you?
Well, if there are any community organizations that you think we should be aware of and encouraged to apply, if not meet with them to sell them on this project. Again, we don't assume that everybody's going to want to be part of it just because we're CMAP and there's $10,000 in it. Any suggestions about community organizations, and they don't have to be, as I said, formally organized. We'd like to know who they are and reach them at least with an application and a conversation about the program. Thanks, Summer, for adding this in the chat. And then I expect that because the CAC is our Citizen Advisory Committee, will be touching base with you regularly about where the program's going and what we've learned. I'm hoping maybe in September we can tell you about some of the organizations that have applied and where we are with that process. And we'd be glad to know who you think we're missing.
Did they have to be a formal group, or could a group of people in a disserved community who care about an issue sort of like come together, so to speak,
Sure.
and say, we are a group of people who want to work on this project or this concept for our community.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'll have to get back with you on that. I understood there had to be some kind of enough of a formal organization that we could make the payments to an entity, whether it's to an entity that has another one as a fiscal agent. And that's mostly for tax purposes. But we're looking hard at there not being barriers to participating in this, including bureaucracy.
Mhm. No, I'm just trying to reaching out to people who are not necessarily part of a formal organization. Or maybe we could even assist them form an organization.
Yep.
If in fact they're a group of people in a marginalized community that say, wait a minute, we've got a problem in our area that hasn't been addressed. No, we've been talking about it, but no one's listening. And how can we get some support? I mean, that's what I'm just, is there a way for us to give support to groups of maybe organizing them, so to speak, or helping them or show them the way?
I hope we would, but I think I'd need to get you more information about that, Elliot.
Mm-hmm. No, because I just think that's because a lot of times that's part of the problem, is that if there's issues that are not being addressed, and then so they may not have a formal entity to deal with it.
Right.
Other questions or statements or concerns?
So I did add Ryan's email in the chat as well. If you have any additional thoughts, if you just need to kind of think, let everything marinate, you can shoot him an email as well. If you have suggestions, organizations, you can type them in the chat as you think of them. You can send them to Ryan, send them to us, and we'll get them to him. And I will share this presentation after our meeting as well.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Does anybody else have, I mean, I don't know if we have any, I don't doubt we have any public members on the online, but anybody on the committee, or if there's anybody in the public who happens to be on the screen, I would welcome any public comment or comments from members of the committee on any issues of concern that you wanted to raise at this time. Anyone?
Great. In the meantime, I will answer your question, Elliot, about whether a group could informally organize and whether they would be still eligible for this. Great.
Thank you. Well,
Thank you.
I thank you all for taking your time this afternoon to get together to hear about strategic planning and the directions we're moving at CMAP, and also to hear about this whole equitable engagement program, which I think is a great model, which hopefully will come to fruition and really engage some people who have not otherwise had an opportunity to have input and be involved. You may want to note that our next meeting, I believe, is September the 13th, as it stands right now.
Yes, sorry. And if I could also add, I know this is a little bit out of order, but because we're waiting for a quorum initially, but if we could go around and do introductions, that would be great. I know for me, I would, if you would all humor me and indulge me, I would love to learn a little bit about you, since I am new to this role. And I can go ahead and start if that's all right, and then we can go
okay,
around.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, great. So my name is Sema Abulhab. I'm an engagement specialist here at CMAP. I've been here about 3 months. I am from Michigan, and so new to the city, new to the region, but really excited to be in community with you all and get to know you all and be a part of the committee, and be your liaison. So yeah, I'd love to know a little bit about you all.
Thank you. Why don't we go around the room? Thomas, why don't you go next?
Afternoon, everybody. Thomas Gary with the Illinois State Treasurer's Office. manage the local government investment pool, as well as their payment processing solution system. Elliot was just congratulating me. I just finished the master's program over at Harris at U of C. So I think that's what Elliot was congratulating.
That's
me
exactly
for.
what. That's
okay.
exactly what
Okay.
I
All
saw.
right.
I saw you in your gown on online, and I wanted to say congratulations.
All right. So yeah, live in the western suburbs, the Western Cook suburbs, very active and involved in West Side and the West Cook region. So pass it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Renee.
Hey everyone. I work for a company called Meeting Tomorrow. We're a national event company in the Albany Park neighborhood of Chicago. I do special projects and corporate sustainability, so our greenhouse gas accounting and climate planning and reduction plans. And then I also run a small community organization, all volunteers, called the Edgewater Environmental Coalition. And through that, we're a part of other campaigns and coalitions like Democratize ComEd, the Illinois Clean Jobs Coalition, and the Illinois Environmental Council, which I put in there as well. And I went to school for environmental public policy, which is why CMAP stuff is so interesting for me.
Thank you for being here. Zara.
You're welcome.
Is that pronouncing that correct? Zara?
I just saw that there's this other question. So should I start doing
sorry.
this other question too to
Go ahead.
get everyone to chime in on that? So there's also, what is your number one recommendation
Yeah,
in your
sure.
neighborhood city? So mine would be to actually execute the climate action plan that was released a couple months ago. Chicago Climate Action Plan.
Outstanding. We'll skip to Kevin.
Turning video on here, if it works. Am I on?
That's great. You're on.
Either way. All right, I'm Kevin Ivers. I'm from Woodstock, Illinois, McHenry County. And I work for a construction material company and distribution. They're based in Elmhurst. We have 2 kids. I also serve on the board of the McHenry County Conservation Foundation. We are a 501c3 supporting the McHenry County Conservation District. So the open space is an important part and passion of my life, but also in the sense of CMAP, the broader region and our development and economic and overall sustainability and well-being is all keen and dear to my heart. So in our neighborhood city, we're close to the metro station, 2 blocks away. There's still, I think, 10 to 15 acres of vacant land that has been under potential development for many years. And I think finally it's coming back towards that. So that idea of compact, contiguous, and transit-oriented design, I'm hopeful that we in our neighborhood city there can stay true to heart with that.
Great. Aditya?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I am Aditya. I am representing the Will County side of Naperville. I'm a PhD student at University of Illinois, studying computer science. I'm trying to think what else is useful to say. I think in terms of recommendations to the neighborhood city would be, we are debating in the city the first kind of affordable housing plan. Some things are related to density bonus. So trying to get those things through would be a good thing to figure out.
Thank you so much for being here. Let's see, Gerline.
Yeah, hello everyone. Let me just switch on my video. Yeah, hello everyone. This is Gerline. So I am an intern here. This is my 2nd day. I am originally from India and I'm currently doing my master's at University of Michigan. So I'm excited to be here, and it was really nice meeting you all today.
Thank you for being with us. Carolyn.
Hi, everyone. Oh, I'm going to mute myself.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Carolyn.
Unmute.
Okay. Are you muted?
Oh, yeah, a little. Maybe Sema, you
try
can
this now.
introduce
Sorry
Carolyn.
about that. Hi, I'm Carolyn. Carolyn Beck. I am the other half of SIMA. I'm one of our engagement specialists here, also co-director of the FLIP program. And I'm just here helping out with logistics, but it's great to meet all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Zara? I don't know if she's there. Paul?
Hi, I'm Paul. I am also another intern, just also having my second day. I am getting my master's at UIC and very excited to be here.
Thank you. Sarah?
Sorry, I think it's flipped. Sorry, can you see me?
Yes, we can. We see you. You're on.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sarah Mendez. I'm a senior at U of I and I'm studying urban planning, and I'm also a planning intern for the
Great.
summer.
Thank you. Zara, I don't know if you're there, Zara, or maybe I see your picture, but I don't hear you.
Zara did let me know that after today will be her last day with the Citizens Advisory Committee. So Zara, if you can hear us, thank you so much. Wish you the best. And
thank you.
Be in touch.
Thank you. Jane, briefly,
Oh, sure. Yeah. Hi, Elliot. Thank you. I've been with the agency about 6 years. I direct the agency's public engagement. And it's really nice to see you all. It's been a while since the committee has met.
No, and I'm Elliot. I've served as chairman for a while. I was originally on the CMAP board and vice chairman of the board when it started out from its inception. And I was a former mayor in Buffalo Grove for 3 terms. And CMAP is a great organization doing great work, as most importantly has a great staff of people working very hard to try and make a difference in our region. And I applaud them all. And I applaud you all for being willing to serve on this committee. Hopefully we can broaden the committee. I think we have a nice beginning in terms of the group that we have together. Hopefully we can get some more people involved and increase our numbers of people that are involved, maybe for some other areas and other backgrounds. But thank you all for participating. And thank you all for introducing yourselves and sharing a little bit about yourselves. Anything else anybody have they want to share before we adjourn for the day, marking your calendars for September 13th?
September 13th, same time, 2 o'clock, same Zoom address. Okay, so I can plug that
Link
in.
will be in the next agenda.
All right.
And what time are these actually scheduled to go till?
Sorry?
What time are they actually scheduled to go to?
2 to 3:30.
Okay.
So we're you all get a reprieve and more free time today, unless you all want to keep talking. Thank you all for being here. Enjoy the summer and enjoy whatever else you're doing. And thank you all for participating today.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Have a great summer. Bye.
Thank you, Seema, very much.
Thanks, Elliot. Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.